you in particular, Kosheia.
First of all, my name is Kosheia.
Kosheia.
So please get it
She
right.
in particular has a problem with almost every man. Every man has come at her sideways. Every man has come at her sexual.
Who is every man?
Hey guys, welcome to Little Blackbird 91. Listen, we're talking to you guys about the Kosheia and Alexis beef right now. Listen, who's in the wrong? Well, let me just first and foremost say this. Everyone's a little bit right, everyone's a little bit wrong, as Sean and Siwe will tell you, right? Everyone's a little bit right, everyone's a little bit wrong. And I think the reality of the situation is with Alexis starting off the conversation by her talking about Kosheia's experience. I'm not sure why, because context is kind of missing. It does start up a little bit of a situation, right? The moment she starts to open her mouth about another woman's experience, and then she adds about how her experience is so much more different, it begins to invalidate the other woman's experience. And that is always going to be a no-go with women. I can just tell you that now. Like, watching the series over the past few years, that is always a number one no-go. Just because they didn't do it to you, doesn't mean that you can invalidate my experience. Hey, I get it. I'm not mad at it, right? We've seen this several times over the years. And so that was always going to start a problem. But the reality is also Kosheia, the way she handles it, tells us also a little bit about her. The combative energy, ready to fight, very much ready to fight, is also a problem. Because what it does is that it just makes everything cagey and intense. And in the end, she ended up running off crying, right? More pissed off probably, but from crying. She's probably pissed off that she had to be in this situation, which I get. But yeah, that's always an interesting situation. But we're going to play a little bit more of this clip. Before we do, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notifications of the uploads as well. Let's get into the video. Let's talk a little bit more about this Ready to Love episode. I know it's going to come up in a few hours or so when you watch this. But before we do, let's drop an intro.
Little black girl, you know what time it is. 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 Time it is.
All right, let's get into this video.
I personally, none of the men have come at me that way because I feel like men know who to play
I
with.
can't help it. You feel like a 12-year-old.
Okay,
so hold on.
So when I say to Will, hey,
Straight away, right there, it's going to be a problem. When she says, obviously, the men know who to come and play with, it automatically insinuates that the reason for Kosheia's problem is a self-inflicted one, right? And it makes it seem as if Kosheia is the reason why this is actually happening, and not that the man could be the actual problem. Now, the two truths could be right, could be true at the same time. Kosheia could be a problem. And it could be that the man is also a problem. He doesn't need Kosheia to be the problem. He is a problem on his own, right? Two truths can actually be right. But the moment she sets it up as a, you know what, the reason why the guy did what he did is because she is a problem, it's always going to end badly, right? Now, I don't know how true that is because we haven't got the context of this scenario and the situation. We haven't watched the previous parts of this episode. And when it does, we'll be able to see maybe a little bit who's at fault. But in reality, we don't know because, like I said, we don't have the context.
Will, you need to control your own narrative and not be painted as a
He should
pervert
control his
or
own
anything
narrative.
like that. Will has never come to me in that way.
Nobody
what
said
I
the
don't
word
want to
pervert.
do
You
is
said
for
that
this
to him.
man. He didn't
To
do
you
it to
does not
me.
mean that he didn't do
He
it
didn't do it to me.
to
If you weren't
See, so now obviously Alexis has taken up for Will, and I get it. If that's her connection, I can understand why she's taken up for him. Because obviously that is somebody she cares about, that's somebody who's trying to communicate with, connect with. I get it. She's defending a person. But I can also see how this can be agitating for the other person as well too. It's like, baby, you never saw what we saw. You never experienced what we experienced. We get it that you're taking up for him, but you never saw what we saw. At the same time, this shouldn't be a fight. Maybe a disagreement, an argument, yes, because we're human beings. But it shouldn't be a fight. It shouldn't get to a point of a fight. It should never get to a point where, she's talking about she wants to beat somebody down. So, yes, I get it. She's defending Will because maybe that's her love connection. And the lady should understand that and say, hey, but we totally understand about, look, from our perspective, this is what's happened. You know what I mean? Like, please don't invalidate our experience. But now I get Alexis also, too, is also saying, listen, hey, Will needs to take control of his narrative and not let ladies run right with the narrative. I guess, like I said, we're going to see this episode. We're going to see what actually happened, and then we can actually really give a winner, or a person side that we fall on. I don't fall on either side because I think both of them made some mistakes in the situation, and I totally get the beef behind both of them.
sexual energy, if you weren't trying to holler
Okay,
at
hang on.
me,
Let's
if you weren't
do this.
trying to holler at other men
Hey.
in front of them,
Girl, bye. She can't help but be messy.
You starting
Then
to
if I
back
sit
up.
up and
Let's
slap
bring
the
it
bitch
down.
in her mother mouth,
Let's-
she gonna have a problem. Cause
Now, Kosheia, why do we need to get up and slap up in the face? Why does it need to get to a point where you're going to slap somebody in the face? And I always say this, people that react this way usually have been unprotected for a very long time, and they use their mouth as a method of attack to defend themselves. Okay? Your anger is often a signal for us that there is something deep-rooted that's actually happening underneath the surface called pain and hurt. And usually that's coming from somewhere where someone's hurt you in the past, and these situations are re-triggering you and causing you to flare up and get annoyed and get frustrated. But in reality, this situation should have never got to a point where you flare up to a point, if I'm going to punch the in the face or something in the face, it should never get to a place of violence. You shouldn't have yourself pulled out of pocket to a place of violence. No, it should never be the case.
If she wants it, she can get it, Tommy.
Is that what you
Let's
want?
stop.
Down, baby.
Is that what you want to do? We can go there.
Please.
I got you.
Please don't.
I got you.
And then obviously by the time it gets to the tears part, no one has empathy for you, because now what you've actually done is that you try to intimidate the other person and cuss the other person. And sometimes we know that our louder voice and aggression and our threats actually cause people to back down. But if that person doesn't back down, this is only going to escalate. So now we've got to a place where we're actually probably really hurt by what Alexis has actually done. And instead of having a conversation with her and saying, hey, sis, that really hurt me because you don't know what I went through. And we've all been where Kosheia's been, maybe not the fight part, but the fight part in terms of when someone hurts you, your first reaction is to defend yourself, and sometimes it is to attack the other person. When actually, we actually should choose a position of vulnerability and say, hey, look, do you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. What you just said to me really, really hurt. It's cut deep. I've gone through some things with him, and I feel like you've misunderstood me. That's what should really be happening. But unfortunately, we don't get that, because a lot of times, all of us do this, where we're so hurt by the person's interaction and what they've said to us that all we're ready to do is fight, because that's what we're trying to change the narrative of our past. We're not going to let people bully us. We're not going to let people belittle us. We're not going to let people push us down. We're not going to let people, crush us. We're not going to let people stand over us. We're not going to let people dominate us. We're never going to be in that position where we're unpowerful again. We're never going to be in a position where we are going to be able to be hurt by someone like this again. No, I'll get you back, and I'll let you know what it is. I think that's what we're seeing from Kosheia in this position, right? It's a lot of pain and probably unprotection in her childhood, and it's coming up right here. It needs to be dealt with. It should never be a reaction like this. And then you're having to walk off with tears in your eyes and a tissue on your nose. This is not how you want it to be. So anybody out there watching this, I want you to understand, if you identify with her, I want you to understand something. That whilst you may identify with her and say, I understand where she's coming from, I need you to also search deeper. There's something causing you pain as to why you react in this manner. Many times it's because we understand that it works. It causes people to fear us. It causes people to back off. It causes people to actually say, I'm not going to mess with you. Right? And that's what you wanted, because in reality, their person's hurting you. And I get it. But you're going to have to look deeper. All right, cool. We're going to be off. Like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you guys.